guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing y'all my long-awaited eyeshadow palette collection and declutter because surprisingly, not really surprisingly, but I need to declutter some of my eyeshadow palettes. I don't have high hopes for myself because eyeshadow palettes I hold close to my heart and I love, and I don't think I can get rid of half of these palettes. I already know that, but I do plan on getting rid of a few. Sorry for this bad angle, but my eyeshadow palettes are all behind me right here, and I actually ran out of space for all my palettes, so that's why I need to get rid of some because I'm trying to keep all my palettes in these 4 compartments. No, all my palettes do not fit in here. I would say I have 230 palettes. I'm not really sure. I will count it and then put it on the screen now. I want to get rid of a couple. So also sorry for the lighting in this video. I know the lighting is going to be sucky. Literally my ring light makes weird noises and I can't use it. So yeah, sorry about it. I'm going to do this as best as I can and as quickly as I can because I know I'll be tired of talking eyeshadow palettes within 10 minutes. So let's just get into it. I was trying to get myself out of this video, but turns out I'm in it. Here we go. I'm going to be starting off from here going down. Yeah, I know this is gonna be real messy, real dirty. I'm sorry about it. I'm sorry. I'm warning y'all right now. I'm pretty sure I'm not getting rid of anything from this top row, but I don't know. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. I try to keep it kind of organized. Not really, y'all, because I got too many palettes. I don't got time to organize this. But over here for the most part is all my Morphe palettes. So for Morphe, I'm pretty sure I'm keeping all of them, but I'm gonna still open up every single palette I have because that's the fun part. I hate when people are like, oh, this is all my blah blah collection, and then they just skip over it because they assume that you already know what it looks like. Like, yeah, I know what it looks like, but I still want to see it, you know? Like, I'm nosy. So I'm gonna show y'all because I'm nosy too. First up, we have the Morphe Meredith palette. I haven't even used this at all, y'all. Like, I have not touched this. This is looking brand new because I have not touched it, but I'll be keeping this obviously. Next up is the Disney palette, which I forgot about this. I have used this a couple of shades, but I will be keeping this. I don't know, a rainbow palette just gets me, like, that's my weakness. Then I have the 35L Ultra Lavender palette, and it's just a bunch of purples and browns. Yeah, I believe I haven't even touched this. And honestly, I'm not a big fan of purple, but I'm still keeping this. I don't know why I'm keeping it, but I'm still keeping it. Okay, I will use it eventually, maybe. Next up, we have 35D palette, which I love a succulent. So just for that alone. Oh my god, this palette is so beautiful. Y'all, you can tell that I haven't touched eyeshadow in a bit. Y'all, also, I haven't worn eyeshadow since me and my ex broke up, and that was in March. So these palettes have been untouched since then. Yeah, I'm keeping this obviously. And then I have the 35A palette. Okay, this one's also untouched, but these greens are looking so pretty. Like, honestly, greens and pinks just look so pretty, but then again, I'm keeping it obviously. Then I have the collab with Abby Roberts, and this one is so beautiful too, y'all. Like, y'all, yeah, bruh, I can't. This whole top row, like, starlit. We're keeping this. Even though I have not used this at all, but we're keeping it. Now we have the Jaclyn Hill palette. This is, I believe, their second batch because it's not the original. The original doesn't have this on the back, but I got this in like 2018, 2017, and mine's look like this. It's been abused and used, and I actually got this from my cousin, so shout out to him. I haven't touched it in a while, but I'll be keeping it. Anytime somebody buys me a palette or makeup, I keep it. We have the 35T palette, which I believe this is a bunch of pinks. Yeah, this is a bunch of pinks. I have tried to do this in a project pan, but clearly I didn't hit pan on it. This is so pretty, so we're keeping it. We're not doing so well, but I knew that. Next up, we have Juvia's Place Culture palette. And oh, I don't even think I've used this actually. Yeah, I have not used this, but this is so pretty. This is so pretty. Why have I not used it? Maybe it's because I'm scared. But I will be keeping this too. Then I have the Jeffree Star Pink Religion palette, and this is also brand new. I have not used this either, but I love pinks. Pinks are like my comfort color to wear, so I'm keeping this. Then I have the Morphe Nyan collab, and this palette is actually really pretty. I have used a couple of shades. The way how she set it up, I love it, so I'm keeping it. I then have the Color Workshop Sunset Hour palette. Mine's look like this. It is beaten and abused. Like, literally, I finished 2 shades completely. I actually got this from my sister years ago for Christmas, but I will be getting rid of this. I know I said I keep everything that I get as a gift, but this one I'll be getting rid of because this will be going into another stack. Okay, so I'm getting rid of it technically out of my collection, but it's going somewhere else. First one decluttered for today. Then I have the Morphe Lucky Charms palette. This one I don't even think I've used either, but I love the colors, so we're keeping it. Next up, we have the Morphe Sour Patch palette. This one is actually really pretty too. These kind of look similar, y'all. These kind of look similar, and I'm kind of sad that I'm not decluttering any of them, but I don't want to, y'all. I don't want to. The thing about a good collab, I can't get rid of it, so I'm keeping it too. Now we have the Glamlight Barbie Dream Summer palette. It's actually really pretty. Like, Glamlight's palettes are super pretty, especially the shimmer shade. Like, Sun Kissed is so beautiful. I will be keeping this palette, y'all. I promise eventually we will be getting rid of something. Next up, we have the 18CT palette from Morphe. I actually really like this palette. It's a cool tone palette. This white shade is like one of the best white shades I've ever come across, so I'm keeping it just for that shade alone. Lime Crime Venus XL2 palette. Now this one I have not even touched. Like, I have not touched this palette, but I think I'll be getting rid of it because I know I will not touch it. Like, if I was to touch it, it would probably be Crown, Myth, and Eve, and everything else I'm not gonna touch. So this will be also another declutter, and it's brand new. Also, if you know me in real life, like if you're my friend or you're my cousin, meaning that you have my number and you see a palette that I declutter and you want it, text me about the palette, okay? Because I don't know what I'm doing with all this makeup and I don't want to throw it away. So if you want the palette, just text me, okay? Just text me. I'll send it. But if I don't know you, sorry, I will not answer. Next up, we have Dose of Colors Ice Cream palette, which obviously I'm not getting rid of because I bought this secondhand and I've been wanting this palette since I was younger. Since I've seen Desi's eyeshadow palette collection, if she had this, I wanted it since then. I'm keeping it just for the packaging. We have Moira My Sweetest Thing palette, and I got this from my ex, and I actually haven't used it at all. And I know I'm not gonna use it. I only kept it because of him, but now that he's an ex, I don't gotta keep it if I'm not gonna use it. So I'm gonna get rid of this. It's also brand new. Also, by the way, he has bought me a lot of eyeshadow palettes and like makeup things, but some of them I do like and some of them I do use. So I'm not getting rid of those. But the ones I don't use, yeah, I'm getting rid of. Now I have the ABH Norvina collection. This is the volume 3 palette. And I bought this, I believe, from like Marshalls or some store like that, and it looks like this. I actually hit pan in a couple shades. Since hitting pan, I haven't picked this palette up, but I do kind of like it, so I will be keeping this. Next up, we have Vibes by Violet Voss, and I don't even think I've used this palette. Actually, I have, but something about an all matte palette just sits right in my soul, and so I don't want to get rid of this. I really don't want to get rid of it, so I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready. Now we have Coral Crush by Violet Voss, and this was one of my favorite palettes back in the day, and it looks like this. I haven't touched it in quite a bit, but I'll also be keeping this, y'all. Something about pinks. Pinks is like my guilty pleasure, I guess. Next up, we have the Masquerade by Juvia's Place, and this is the big palette, and I've hit pan in 2 shades actually. I don't remember that. I do remember using this pink a lot, so I'll be keeping this palette. Now over here is my ColourPop little section. These are actually really heavy. The first one we have is Stone Cold Fox, which is a cool tone palette. It looks like this. I don't even believe, I think I've only used like probably Rock Bottom. No, I've used Drama Mama down here. The palette is really beautiful. I will be keeping it. I love a good cool tone now, so I'm keeping it. We have Getting Fresh. Getting Fresh is greens and pinks, and I have not used this palette at all. Actually, yeah, I've lied. I've used Soft Launch down here, but that's the only one I've used. But something about looking at these greens makes me want to use it, so I'm keeping it. Now I have Your Golden. Oh my god, all my palettes just fell. R.I.P. Now I have Your Golden, and this is actually really pretty. I love the glitter shades. I'm keeping it. Then I have It's a Mood, and this one's actually really pretty, but I have not used this. Like, just looking at it, I want to use it. Do I know what I want to use it on? No, that's my issue. The shades are so beautiful. I have to keep it. Now we have Smoking Hot. Honestly, I didn't even know I had this palette. I literally did not know I had this palette, but it's really pretty. And I'm keeping it because it's warm tones. Next up, we have Play It Jewel, which this is actually really pretty again. This is really pretty, but I have not used it at all, but I will be keeping it still. One of my favorite ones to look at is Aurora Strut. Like, something about this color scheme just does it for me, and I love it, so I'm keeping it. Now I have Blend Bunny, the Sickly Sweet palette, which I just bought this year. So obviously I'm keeping it, and it's a bunch of pastels. Like, I love a good pastel. Like, that shade right there, Cupcake, is so beautiful. Even I'm fine. Then I have the ABH Cosmos palette, which looks like this. This is also really beautiful, really pretty. I haven't really touched it, but I will be keeping this too. Now these are my Wet n Wild palettes. I'm pretty sure I'll be getting rid of one of them. This is the Stitch one, the Ohana one. I really did love this glitter. Like, this glitter was really good at one point, but I haven't used any other shade from here. Low-key, I think I might get rid of this. Hold up, let me open the other ones first. This one is the Care Bear one. This is the first one I got, I believe. And it looks like this. It's really similar also. But again, I've hit pan on this shade right here. Again, I love these little glitters. And then this one is the Sesame Street. Okay, this one is brand new. I haven't even broken the seal. Like, literally the seal is on. So I'll be getting rid of this one for sure. So another palette's gone. Now these two, will I be keeping them or will I be getting rid of them? I'm looking at them both together. Will I be using these? I haven't touched the glitter since I hit pan actually. I would not touch any other shade in this palette. So I'm getting rid of all of them now. I did not expect to get rid of this whole collection, but yeah, they're all going. Sorry about it. Next up, these are my Storybook palettes. I've been wanting since I was younger because I love the packaging. Like, look at them. Like, the Burn Book one, I'm not getting rid of these. I already know. The Burn Book one looks like this. I'll show y'all what it looks like because I'm not getting rid of any. This is Burn Book. And this one's called Little Briar Rose, which honestly, I don't know what that is. I haven't even used it, but I still am gonna keep it just because of the packaging. And then I have Garden of Juvia's by Juvia's Place, and I'm keeping this because I love pastels. And I've only used, I believe, Daffodil. Like, that's the only shade I believe I have used. Now, I will be keeping my Michaela Glam Light palette. Mine is broken. It literally leaks on this side, which is why I have it sitting up that way. And they're so beautiful. Like, I hit pan and glow up. Like, that's such a pretty shade. I haven't used any of the mattes, though. Sorry, my room is a mess. Y'all see all those books over there? Yeah. I'm filming a book haul literally after this. Yeah, I'm keeping this. So from this top shelf, we've kept 33 palettes and we decluttered 6. And that's 6 more than I thought I would have decluttered. So we're off to a great start. Actually, before I get into the second row, we are going to throw in a spontaneous giveaway because I don't know, I wanted to give back to y'all for watching this video. So if you made it this far, congratulations. Here's a giveaway. Basically, all you have to do is subscribe, like the video, and comment below a palette that you want. Like, whatever palette you want, comment it down below. And also in that same comment, include a form of contact. It could be your Instagram, your Twitter, your email. Just don't put your phone number, okay? Just don't put your phone number. But any way of contact, just put it in that same thing. And that's how you're entered. This giveaway will end February 13th. So come back to the video then, and then I'll have the winner pinned and everything. So that's it. You will also be winning that palette that you comment, okay? Yeah. Now we're gonna go into my second row, which has a lot of eyeshadow palettes. There's literally 2 back here that you can't even see, but I guess we'll start with those ones. The first one we have is the Jeffree Star Bloodlust palette. And I love the packaging. It is a purple palette, and I don't wear purples. I literally haven't even used this palette yet. I haven't used it, but it looks like that, and I will be keeping it. Also back here is the Flamingo palette from Violet Voss, which was one of my favorite palettes because I love the way it opened like a book, and that's why I had bought it. And mine's look like this. I hit pan in one shade. That's it. But I will be keeping this because something about this palette, just, I love it. Next up, we have the Too Faced Chocolate Gold Bar palette, which is just a bunch of shimmers and formats. And mine, I hit pan on this black shade, and I will be keeping this. We have the Morphe Heat Seeker palette. I don't even think I've used this, actually. I don't think I have, no. But something about these yellows and oranges and pinks, something about this palette scheme is drawing my eyes to it, so I'm keeping it. And I will use it eventually, maybe. Next up, we have Subculture by ABH, which everybody hated at the time, which low-key I liked it, so I'm keeping it. I then have Prism by ABH, which is my favorite one that she has, and I hit pan on 3 shades actually. I hit pan on 3 shades, and I love this color scheme, so I'm keeping this. I then have the Makeup Revolution Self X. This is the second collab, and I hit pan on 1 shade down here. This palette is really beautiful. Honestly, I don't think I'll be using it though, so I will be decluttering this palette. Now we have the BH Cosmetics Daisy Marquez palette collab, and I bought this because I love how the palette like sits like this. And for that alone, I will be keeping this palette, even though I don't use it. But I have hit pan in a lot of these shades, but I'm keeping it just because of this. Now I have this Makeup Revolution, this is called Hydra Dolphin Forever Flawless palette. My ex got this for me, and I haven't used it because it came broken because he didn't open it, he didn't check it. So I'm getting rid of this palette. Yeah, I'm not even gonna deal with it. Next up is the Self X. This is the original one, and I have hit pan on this shade. And I do like this shade called Pug, and I only like it because of the name. But it's broken, so I don't use it, and for that alone, we're getting rid of it. Now we have my Huda Beauty Desert Dust palette. I don't even know if she sells this anymore, but I bought this the first time I went to California, and low-key I think this is expired because the shades are low-key kind of dry. I kind of want to swatch it. Yeah, like these shades are dry. You can't even, like, that's not how they're supposed to look. For that, I will be decluttering this, but it's probably gonna go in a keepsake thing. But it will be decluttered, so it's off my shelf. Next up, we have the Twilight by ColourPop. I have not used this. I bought this just before I went to an... Oh, that shade is broken. The green shade is broken, called 17. I believe I have a new palette then. Because I got a replacement palette, but I don't know where it is. But I will be keeping this palette. If I find the replacement one, then I'll get rid of this one and keep that one. I don't know what's going on, y'all. I'm keeping it though. I have the Legend of Korra ColourPop palette, and this one I also like because it looks like a book. I don't know what this is or who it is, but the color scheme I love, so I'm keeping it. I have the City Color Whatever Forever palette, and this is just a rainbow palette, and I have not used this at all, and I will not use it, so I'm gonna get rid of this. I just like the packaging, but I know I will not use it. Then I got this Makeup Revolution palette. It's called Provocative, and it looks like this. I got this from my ex. I've only swatched it. I have not used it, so I'll be getting rid of this because I know I will not use it. Then I have the Glamlight Frosted Flakes palette, and mine look like this. I haven't used any of the mattes, but I do like it, and I love Glamlight's shimmer formula, so I'll be keeping this. I have Violet Voss's Violet Sunset palette, and low-key I was thinking I was gonna keep it, but now looking at these shades, they're a little... I feel like I have these shades in every other palette, which I know I have a lot of palettes, and I know the top row y'all probably like, yeah, you've had this shade probably like 10 times already. So I will be getting rid of this. Didn't expect that. Now these two palettes I will not be getting rid of. This is the Glamlight Hershey collab. This is the Cookies and Cream one. This one's actually my favorite out of the two, and it's the cool tone one. Even though I haven't used it, but I love cool tones and I love grays, and like that first shade is so pretty. I'm keeping that. And then this one is the regular milk chocolate one. And this is just a warm tone, kind of like neutrally palette. I haven't used this. These shades look really dark, but I'm keeping it just because I'm keeping... If I'm keeping this one, I gotta keep this one, even though, you know, like I have to keep the collection. Now I have Juvia's Place, the Candy Shop palette, which honestly I forgot I had. I low-key bought it just for this orange shade because somebody used this as blush and it looks so pretty on them. So I bought it for that. For that alone, I'll be keeping it. I then have Nubian 3 Coral by Juvia's Place, and I really wanted this just because I love the silver and grays, but low-key I feel like I have this palette, and I haven't used it. So I will be getting rid of this one too. I low-key don't want to get rid of it, but I will get rid of it, okay? By the way, I haven't used it. I've only swatched it. Next up, we have Malibu Barbie by ColourPop. And I love Barbie, but I do not like this palette. Like, looking at this palette does not make me want to use it. So I'll be getting rid of it. I don't know if I use this actually. I think I've swatched it, but I haven't used it. But I know I will not use it, so I'm getting rid of this. I also don't really like the cover. Like, it looks so fake that I don't like it. Okay, next up is my little Milani collection, which the first one I ever got is called Ungilded Most Loved Mattes, and I believe my ex got this for me, if I'm correct. But it's an all matte palette, and I love it, and I do use it, so I'm keeping this. This one is called Gilded Flora, and I have never used this, but I love the color scheme, so I will be keeping this because I love the shimmers. And then this one's called Luster Light. This might be, I don't know if he bought me this one or that one, but I will be keeping all three of them because this is so pretty. Like, these three shades are so beautiful. Next up is the Morphe 2 with Maddie collab, and this is called Changement. And it looks like this. Low-key, I haven't really used it, but for some odd reason I want to keep it. For some odd reason, I don't know. I will be keeping it, but I probably will be getting rid of it. Now I have the ColourPop In the Springs palette, which I love this palette. I don't use it much, but I love the soap shade and Prick Me. Oh my god, something about this color scheme, I love it, so I'm keeping it. Now I have the Ciate London the Velvet palette, which I believe I got it from Marshall's actually, but I know I'll be getting rid of it, but I'm gonna open it to show y'all. Anyways, it just looks like this. I haven't even used it, obviously, so I'm getting rid of it. I know I will not touch this. Now I have one of my favorite palettes from ColourPop, and it's the Cloud 9 palette. I love this cool tone. Like, I hit pan on Look Up. All Fluff is one of my also favorite white shades. So yeah, I'll be keeping this for sure. And I love clouds. Next up, I have the Icy Glamlight Blue Raspberry palette, and mine look like this. I have hit pan in Chilling. I really like this palette. Surprisingly, I like blues, so I'm gonna be keeping this. Now I have the Lorac Meraki palette, and I have hit pan in the shade. I low-key love this palette. Even though it looks really dull and basic, I low-key love it. So I'm keeping it. Now I have two of the Kylie palettes. I believe I have a third. I do have a third one, but I don't know where it is exactly, but we'll find it in this video. But the first one is, honestly, I don't know what these palettes are called, but this is the pink one. And I love this. Like, I love these rosy tones. Like, oh, she cute is so pretty. Again, I haven't even used this palette yet. I've only used Love to See It, but I'm gonna keep this palette. And obviously I'm gonna be keeping this one. This is the browns one, which Peaches is pretty. pretty. Like, this is so pretty. I'm keeping this, obviously. I don't know, something about these Kylie palettes I love. Now I have Tarte Legend Bloom from Tarte. I got this from my cousin for Christmas, and I've hit pan in a couple shades, and I will be keeping it just because she gave it to me. So yeah, I have the ColourPop Alice in Wonderland palette, and I will be keeping it. It looks like that. I hit pan on 2 shades, and I love that it opens like a book. If anything opens like a book, it automatically has my heart. Now I have the Morphe 9Q palette, and mine look like this because I used it for art. So I'll be decluttering this, but probably keeping it aside for the colors to use for my projects and stuff, but it's gonna be decluttered. Now I have the KVD Moon Garden palette, and it looks like this. It is beautiful. I barely used it, but I'm keeping it. I have the ColourPop Lakers palette, and I had only bought this because my ex likes the Lakers, and I do like yellows and purples, like these shades, but I haven't used it. But I will be keeping it. I will be keeping it. I have the Sugar Pill Fun Size palette, and I only bought this because the names are like gaming things. Like this one's called Twitch and Level Up and Rage Quit. I love to rage quit. So I'll be keeping this even though I don't use it much. Now this is the C Color like collection where they're all like color themed. So the first one is called Purple Vibes. I don't even really use this, but I feel like if I get rid of one, I have to get rid of the whole collection. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna keep this. Let me see how the other ones look. This one's called Orange Vibes. Oh, but I love this. I love this glitter in the middle. And the shade name Hibiscus. If I keep the orange one, I have to keep all of them. So that's my issue. Oh, this one. I love the glitter too. Okay, I guess I will be keeping all of these. And this one's called Green Vibes. Yeah, I'll be keeping all of them just because I want the pink and orange one. The last palette on the shelf is by Hip Dot. It's a Thin Mints palette. Low-key, I don't use this palette. I will be getting rid of this one. I thought I was gonna keep it, but I'm getting rid of it. So from the second row, I've kept 32 palettes, and I've gotten rid of 11 palettes, which is more than I expected. Now these bottom 2 rows, I already know is gonna be my hardest one, so I probably will not be getting rid of a lot, but let's see. Starting off strong, we have the Makeup Revolution Birds of Paradise palette from my ex. He bought this for me, and I will be getting rid of this just because I don't use it. I then have the Makeup Revolution Hype palette, and this one I did by myself. And I love the shades, but will I use it is the question. Like the purples in here, like I love looking at it, but will I use it? Probably not. So I'll be getting rid of this too. I believe I got rid of all my Makeup Revolution in these palettes. Then I have my set of Profusion palettes. This is called Honest Hibiscus, and this is my favorite one. I love it because it's yellow and pink. I'm keeping. And I have Terrific Tulip, and it's a purple one, and I will also be keeping. If I get rid of one, I have to get rid of all. And this is called Pretty Poppy, which is my least favorite, but I will be keeping. Next up, we have this blue palette. It literally has no name. I got it from my cousin. It looks like this. I don't use it except for this black. I will be getting rid of it, but it's not getting rid of. It's going on another shelf for family that I don't use, which is the one that my sister, you know, that shelf, okay? But it's getting decluttered technically from off this shelf. Next up, I have 2 Pat McGrath palettes here. The first one is called Bronze Bliss. It's so beautiful. I will be keeping this. And then this one is called Sublime Seduction, which I haven't even used, which low-key I should get rid of, but I will be keeping it. Then I have Urban Decay Distortion palette, which the really cool concept was that you can take one of these shades and then layer it on top of these, and it'll give it a cool reflex. So I'm keeping it. Don't ask me if I've used it yet. And I have ColourPop Golden Hour palette, and this is also new, and I will be keeping it because I haven't used it yet. Next up, we have the Warrior 2 by Juvia's Place, and it's an all matte palette. And again, I love an all matte palette, so I will be keeping this. And then I have the Zulu palette by Juvia's Place, and this is one of my first ones, and I haven't touched it since. Wait, this used to be my favorite shade. Oh, it actually still feels good. We will be keeping this because I thought it would have been dried out. We're keeping this. We have BH Cosmetics Lost in Los Angeles palette. It looks like that. I will be keeping it because I love a good pastel. Now we have 2 Lime Crime palettes. This one is called Venus 3. And it's a pink one, and you would think I like these shades, but I do not like these shades. I'll be getting rid of this palette. I have used Beam, but yeah, I don't like it. Now this one called Prelude Chroma. I love the packaging. Something with the little babies on here is super cute to me. Even though I don't really like the color scheme, I'll be keeping it for the packaging. So yeah, sorry about it. Artist Couture, the Supreme Nudes Matte Masterpiece, which I love this palette. Again, it's an all matte palette. I love it, so I'm keeping it. We have Violet Voss Sunflower palette, and it's just a bunch of yellows and browns. Have I used it? No, I have swatched it, but I haven't used it, but I will be keeping it. Now we have the ColourPop Wild Nothing palette, and I love this palette. I haven't used it much. The thing about this just says spring to me, and I love it, so I'm keeping it. Then I have this Pat McGrath Eye Ecstasy palette. This one's called Sublime. This one is not my favorite. Like, I haven't even used it, but I have the other palette, so I will be keeping the other palette, so I have to keep this one too. I don't know what that one is, but I will be keeping this. Now we have another little mini trio stack of Juvia's Place. This is called the Nubian Glow, and this is just yellows and oranges, and I actually really like this, so I'm keeping this one. This one is called the Sweet Pinks, and it's just a bunch of pinks, and I actually like this one too. This looks like it'd be a good blush, so I'm keeping it. This one is called Allure 3. I have a tutorial using this, but I think I'll be getting rid of it. Yeah, I'll be decluttering this one. This is the Morphe collab with Ashley Strong, and I love how this palette opens up. And I love this blue shade. This blue shade got me into the shade of blue. So for that, I'll be keeping this palette. I actually have a look on my channel of using this palette, and it's one of my favorite looks. So I'll link it in the iCards, but I'll be keeping this. Now I have this Viseart Limaris palette. I don't know how you say it, but I have not actually used this palette at all. But it's my first Viseart palette, so I want to keep it, so I will keep it. Then I have the Urban Decay Naked Smiley palette. This one is called Chill Happy, and I know I have the yellow palette, so I have to keep this one because I'm keeping the yellow one, even though these shades are not my shade at all. Like, these are all shimmeries and they're all dark, so I low-key will not use it, but I gotta keep it. Now I have my ColourPop little duo. This one is called All Amethyst. Oh, okay, I did not expect it to look like this actually. Part of me wants to get rid of this. What's the next one? This one's called Lavish. Hold up, let me see. Okay, Lavish I will keep because I like those shades. But All Amethyst, low-key I kind of want to get rid of. But I kind of like this Amulet shade. I'm going to keep both of them, but probably I'll get rid of this eventually. Next up, we have my little Morphe trio things. This is the 9C palette, and this one I actually really like. These blues I really love, and they're all matte, so I'm keeping this. This one is called 9Z. I have done a tutorial using this palette on TikTok. It looks like this. It's not my favorite palette at all. I really like this blue shade, but everything else I don't like, so I'll be getting rid of this. And the cover, I hate it. Now this one's called 9B, and this one I actually like too, so I will be keeping this one too. This is the BH Cosmetics Romantic Nomad palette, and it looks like this. I remember when I bought it, I really wanted it, but now I look at it, it's really small and I don't use it, so I'll be getting rid of this. Okay, this is my Creme Shop little collection. We have this one called Moonlit, and this was very deep. I don't even think I've used this palette. Yeah, I have not used this palette, so I'll be getting rid of this. Because I'm getting rid of that one, I automatically will get rid of this one, even though I low-key don't want to. This is called Fruity Smoothie. I have Hit Pan Sherbet. I don't even know how to say it, but I really like this pineapple shade and kiwi, but I'm getting rid of it. Okay. Next up is my ColourPop little 9-pan. I believe I bought all these from Target. I don't know. But this is called Muse Moment, and I love it because I love the greens. Like, the greens are so pretty, so I'm keeping this one. This one is called Forever Floral, and low-key I have not used this at all. Will I use it? I like this watery shade, but I haven't used it. And this one's called In a Daze. I'm keeping all of them. Okay, next up we have my little ColourPop ones, and this is called Baby Got Peach. And this one I have not used actually at all, but I love the glitter, so I'm gonna be keeping this. This is called Meant to Be. It's also not used, so I'll be keeping this. This one's called Lilac You a Lot, and this one is only been swatched, not used, but I don't think I'll be using these shades, so I will be getting rid of this one actually. And then this one's called Orchid You Not, and again, haven't been used, but I feel like I'll use these shades more than the other ones, so I'm gonna be keeping this one. Next we have my Juvia's Place Rebel collection. This one is called Honey, and it's just that. I do have tutorials on all 4 of these palettes, so this is really pretty. I'm keeping all of them. This one's called Army. Looks like that. This one's called Grays. Looks like that. And then this one's called Mints. Looks like that. Next up back here is my Glam White Hershey's Kisses collection, and I will be keeping all 4 of them, but I'll show you how they look. And I keep them on display like this. So this one's called Cookies and Cream, and it's just blue. I haven't used this actually, but I like it. This one is called Special Dark, and it is purples, and I haven't used this one either. It's called Milk Chocolate, and it looks like this. I haven't used this either. Are y'all surprised? And this one is called Almonds, and this one I have used, and I do have a tutorial up using this. But that shade is so pretty of gold. I haven't used that one though. So from this shelf, we've kept 38 palettes and we've gotten rid of 10. So far so good. We've been getting rid of palettes every shelf. That is great for me. Now this last shelf is a mess because it was supposed to be a display area, but I have too much palettes that I couldn't display it. So you also can't really see because there's a suitcase right here, but maybe if I move it like that. The lighting is so bad down here. I'm gonna try my best not to block it. We're gonna start off with my Pat McGrath palette. This is my only biggest one, and it's called Utopian Dream. And obviously I'm keeping it because it's Pat McGrath and I love it. Okay, next up here is my P. Louise You Give Me Butterflies collection, and I'll be keeping all of them, but I will be going through and showing you how all the palettes look. I also haven't used all of them, which is why they're still in the packaging, but you know what, we're gonna get rid of the packaging now. This is the yellow one. It's called Buttercup Blossom. I haven't used it yet, but I love it. It's really pretty. This is the green one called Woodland Willow, and I have used this one. I don't know why it's out of the packaging, so I should have used it, but it's really green and I love it. This blue one is called Sparkle Spells. Now this one I have used and I really like it, so I'm gonna be keeping it. This purple one is called Moonlit Meadow, and I haven't used it. And this pink one is called Totally Toadstool, and I have not used it. I have the Kylie and Chris collab. This is the Dirty Martini palette, and it looks like this. It's so beautiful, and I will be keeping this. I have the Nabla Glorious Lights palette. This is a glitter one. I have another one, but I don't know where that one is, but this one I will be keeping because I do like a glitter. This is my only Patrick Ta palette, and this is the Major Dimension 3, and this is my favorite one. It's all matte. This is what I use for my brows every single day that I do makeup, so I'll be keeping this. Now this is my Danessa Myricks palette. This is the only palette I have from her, and it's the Groundwork Defining Neutrals palette. And mine look like this. I do use this a lot. I literally use this today, so I'll be keeping this. And I do want to get the purple one too. This is my Huda Beauty Pastels Mint palette. It looks like this. I will be keeping it because I have a pink one that I'll be keeping, so I have to keep this one too. This is the NYX Ultimate Vintage Jean Baby palette, and it's just blues. Ow, I just like pinched my finger. But this is really pretty. This first shade and this white shade is beautiful. Okay, now this is a P. Louise, and it's called If Looks Could Chill, and I love the packaging, how it's like movable. But this is so big. Like, it opens up like this. It's an all blue palette. This is humongous, this. And then it also pulls out too. And I will be keeping it because I do really like these shades. I mean, her shimmers remind me of Glam White, so I'm keeping it. Okay, now in this little container over here, I'm gonna pull it out. I have the Too Faced Let's Play palette. Low key, I could get rid of this. I will be getting rid of this palette. I'm getting rid of it. It's really cute though. This is my first one gone. Now down here, I have the Color Mode eyeshadow palette, which I believe I got it for a gift. Also, I finished 2 shades, but I will be getting rid of this too. And then I have the Smashbox Pinks and Palms eyeshadow palette, which I remember when I first got it, I was obsessed with it because it was pastels, pink, and little mint. But now I have a lot of pastels, pink, and mint, so I'll be getting rid of this. The mirror used to give me a headache too, so. But everything from this little thing is decluttered. Back here we have this giant palette from P. Louise, and it's called Can I Have a Taste. I got this last year in her 25 whatever Christmas thing that was. This is huge. I have not used it. It's a bunch of warm tones though. This shade called Bakery Date is, every time I open this palette I look at it, so I do want to use this. Next up is my Too Faced little 9-pan tins. This is called Sugar Pop. I'll be keeping this because I bought this secondhand and I've always wanted it because I love macaroons. I bought it for the packaging, but I will be keeping this. Then I have Peanut Butter and Honey, so I'll be keeping this. And then this is Peanut Butter and Jelly, which I also believe was for my sister too, but I'll be keeping this too. Next up we have the Sephora Collection palettes, and I have all 6 of them. This one's called Concrete Jungle. I love that blue shade, but I don't really use anything else. But I'll be keeping all these too. I have Gone West, and it's just like a warm tone palette. I have Southern Charm, which is my least favorite. I have Island Hopping, which is one of my favorites. I have Turn Up the Heat, which is another warm tone. And then Off the Grid, which is a neutral. Next up I have the Nabla Read Your Mind palette, and this is new. I haven't used it yet, but I love the shades, and this texture looks super cool, so I'm gonna keep it. Then I have the P. Louise Baby You're a Slice of Perfection. And these are just warm tones, and I have not used it yet. Low-key, I don't feel like I'll use it, but I'm keeping it because it's cool and it's a different shape, and I love that. Now over here is a little tower of a bunch of eyeshadow palettes. We have the Too Faced White Chocolate Chip palette, and I'll be keeping it because I literally went on a hunt and bought it secondhand. Then I have the matching pair, which is the Chocolate Chip Matte palette, which is an all matte palette. Again, love an all matte palette, so I'm keeping it. I have the KVD Surreal Bloom palette, and it's just a bunch of shimmers, and it's really pretty, so I'm keeping it. I have Huda Beauty the Love Fest palette, and it looks like that. I haven't used it, but I love the shade, so I'm keeping it. I have the Kylie Jenner, this is a Storm palette or something like that, but it's a pastel palette, and I haven't used it, but I'm gonna keep it because I bought it secondhand. Then I have these Profusion Cosmetics palettes. These are the Milk Tea collection. So this one's called Thai Milk Tea. I'm not opening these because you can literally see the shades through them. This is called Thai Milk Tea. It's the warm tone palette. This is called Berry Milk Tea, which is pinks. This is one of my favorite ones actually. Taro Milk Tea, which is purples. That's actually a pretty shade. And this is like a little putty formula. And then this one's called Matcha, and this is the green one. And I have all of these linked on my Amazon storefront if y'all are interested in buying these because they're really cute. Okay, then I have these two Korean ones. I don't know if they're Korean makeup, but this is by the brand Lily by Red. And this is the Mood keyboard, and basically it just looks like a keyboard, and that's why I bought it. Like, I do use this palette a lot actually. I still keep it in this little packaging because it's so cute. It looks like a keyboard and I love it. So I'm definitely keeping this. And then I have one that's looks like a piece of cheese, but this one is called Cheese Plate. Next up we have the Nabla Cutie palette, which is an all blue palette, and I'm gonna be keeping it even though I haven't even used it, and I don't think I will, but I'll keep it until I test it out, I guess. Then I have a Too Faced That's My Jam palette. This one I will be keeping because these shades I will use. Now this is a Sweet and Shimmer eyeshadow palette, which is brand new, and I believe I got this in a, I don't even know where I got it from, but it's brand new, and I'll be getting rid of this because I know I will not touch this. Then I have the Viseart Petite Pro 4 in Apricotine, and I kept this one in the box because the shade names are on the box and I got rid of the other box. I love the way they open, that's the thing. I haven't used it, but it looks like that. It's really pretty and peachy. Next up, we have the Urban Decay Naked one. This is called Mucho Happy. This is the yellow one, and I will be keeping this one. And these are the two e.l.f. little bite-sized palettes. This one's called Mint to Be, and I have not used it yet. It's not even open. And this one is called Chocolate Mint, which I'm gonna keep both of them. If I was to get rid of any, it'd be Mint to Be. Then I have the Tarte Make Believe in Yourself, and it looks like this. I bought it used, and I'm gonna keep it because I just bought it. Now we have the Huda Beauty Pastels Lilac shade, and I have not used this, but this is super pretty, so I'm keeping it. It is the e.l.f. Bite Size palette in the shade in Truffles, and you can see I've literally finished 3 shades, but I have 1 left. I will be getting rid of this because I know I'm not using that shade. So this is gonna go straight in the trash because I'm not giving nobody just 1 shade. Now we have 2 P. Louise little quads here. This is called Sprinkle of Wishes. Looks like that. It's really pretty. I have used this and I'm gonna keep it. And this one's called Magical Memories. And it looks like this. It's deeper. I will also keep this. This is the ColourPop Bambi palette. It looks like this. I will keep it. This is the e.l.f. I Love You Latte palette. It's not even open. I will be getting rid of this because I have a bunch of browns, y'all seen. Now I have ColourPop Statement Piece palette. Looks like this. That shade actually came broken. I have not used it, but I will be keeping it. And then the last palette in this area is this ColourPop Sorbet palette, and it looks like this. I've only used the shade like 1 time, but I'll be getting rid of this. So from the bottom shelf, we're keeping 48 palettes and we're getting rid of 7, which is a lot better than I thought. Now we're gonna move on to my next round of palettes. Y'all, sorry for this awkward angle and the bad lighting in here, but my ring light is broken and the only one I have has a slight little ring to it. I know that'll irritate y'all more than this angle, so bear with me, okay? This is what I like to call my pink corner, aka this is just basically P. Louise because all her packaging is pink and cute and adorable. Now that I'm looking at it, actually there's a Kylie palette up here, but the first one up here is this Kylie Valentine's Day palette, and it looks like this. I think I bought this from Poshmark or something. I know I bought this secondhand, so I'm definitely keeping this even though I haven't even used it. Actually, I don't think I've even used it. I think I just cleaned it, but yeah, this is really pink and pretty, and I forgot about it because it's up here, so yeah, I need to actually use it. Shout out to my ex for giving me this octopus. I forgot that he bought me that and I haven't changed it since. Next up we have the Vacation palette, which is actually my favorite palette on this shelf over here. It's just a warm tone palette with pinks, and that is my favorite. Like, this is my favorite shade right here. I actually have my favorite look on TikTok, so yeah. We're keeping this, obviously. I think we're keeping everything on this shelf, actually. The next one is called Date Night, and I don't believe I've even used this because it's just a bunch of greens. I'm trying to get like good-ish lighting. It's just a whole bunch of greens and reds, and I don't really use these darker shades down here, but I'm also gonna keep it because I need to keep the whole collection. And then the last one, a part of this little mini collection, is called Wedding Wish. This one I also haven't used, but I'm more likely to use this than Date Night. I just forget that I even have this up here. Next up, we have the Unlock Your Creativity palette, and this one's really cool because it has a lock, which I always leave unlocked because who got time to deal with that? So literally, I can't even unlock it with my nails right now, and it's open. It used to light up, but I guess the battery's dead. I don't know. But it's just 2 sides. It has all like warm colors, and then the back side has all like cool colors. I don't even think I've used this palette, to be fair, guys. I don't even think I've touched this palette. It's because I never go up here. Like, I never use these palettes up here. Next up is this little pile, and it's the Stack 'em Up collection. Some money tones. and it's the pink one, and I've used this one quite a bit actually. I have a tutorial. Oh my god, is this getting mold? Like, do y'all see that shade right there? Please tell me it's not getting mold. Okay, maybe I should start using these palettes because I'm gonna keep this until I figure out what that is. Then I have Talk is Cheap, which is the blue one, and all these packaging looks like little money, and that's why I like it. Oops. I feel like I've only used once, and I think it was like Hustle or something. But it's just blues. This shade is actually really pretty, and Payday, that's really pretty. I'm keeping this obviously. And then the last one up here is called CEO Million or whatever. It's the purple one. I have used Loaded, which I think has been in a project too. That one actually looks really pretty in that shade. Priceless. So from this area I got rid of nothing, which I knew I was not going to get rid of because this is my P. Louise area. So now we are in my Natasha Nona drawer, which this one I don't even think I'll be getting rid of anything. Natasha Nona I'm trying to collect. Yeah, we're gonna see. We're gonna see that. We're gonna start off with the little mini palettes over here. So first up we have the mini Trio Chrome palette, which everybody did not like, but honestly I don't even think I've used it actually. Now that I'm looking at it, yeah, I haven't even touched it, so I'm gonna be keeping it just because I am into blues, and that shade right there alone, I'm gonna keep it. Now I believe this is my first Natasha Nona palette. Actually it might be the bigger one, but this is the mini pastel palette. I really love that shade and that shade and that shade. That shade I haven't used, but I will be keeping this. This is the mini Starlit palette, and I actually used this shade for my birthday this year, and I really loved it, so I'm keeping this palette just for that shade alone. Now we have the Fez palette, which this is the bigger one. I have this shade, it's called Mindful. I believe it's in the My Dream palette, and I believe I have this shade called Acrobat, because like these shades are like repeat shades. Yeah, I have Mindful and Acrobat, so I will be getting rid of this palette. This one is called Cupid, and I believe I bought this from like BoxyCharm or something, and I haven't even used it. These shades are not my shades at all, so this is completely brand new, and I will be getting rid of this one too. This one is the mini Retro palette, and again I have, oh my god, okay, these shades don't look anything like that. This is actually really pretty. I haven't even used this yet. Like that shade up there is so pretty. You know what, we're keeping this. This one is called Mini Zendo. Again, I haven't used it. This is pretty. I really like the shimmery shades. That dark shade over here is throwing me off. I don't know what I'd use it for, but I'm gonna keep this too. And then the last one is the mini Rose palette, which I literally just bought a week ago. Obviously I haven't used it yet, but this one shade right there is so pretty, so I'll be keeping this too because I just bought this. So now I can organize everything back. That's crazy, everything fit right here. That's so perfect. Okay, down here are not eyeshadows, so I'll not be going through that. First up we have the I Need a Warm palette, which this is brand new. I also bought this with the other palette I was showing y'all about, so I haven't even tested this out. It's been like a week or so. Looks like that. I definitely will be keeping this. This is also a part of it, which is the golden palette. So packaging is so pretty, and it looks like this. This is so pretty, like this one shade right there, Kava. Keeping it. And then I also got Roxa, but it also has that pretty packaging, and it looks like this. It's just a bunch of purples, which honestly I'm kind of scared to try her purples, but keeping. Next up we have My Dream, which I think is one of my most used Natasha Nona palettes, and mine looks real busted. Like literally black is black, literally is crumbled. I don't even think you guys can see it because my lighting is so bad in here, but it's crumbled. Vision also crumbled, so I had to repress those. Yeah, this palette I'm definitely keeping. I have the Glam Face palette, and I believe this is the dark one, and it looks like this. It comes with a cream blush and a highlight and then some shadows, which I haven't even used the shadow, but I will be keeping this. I have the Love Face palette, which has the same concept, but this is all pink, and this actually got crushed, which I will also be keeping this just because I have a look that I did on TikTok, which is one of my favorite looks. I might just throw that away because I'm not even touching that at all. Then we have the Xenon palette, which honestly might be one of my new faves. I don't know, something about grays. I'm now in my gray era. Super Ionic is super good, and Sposh and Stellar. Well, I'm keeping obviously. Then we have the Biba palette, which is her big palette, and this is a very neutral everyday look, and I will be keeping this. I actually hit pan on spot. We have the Retro palette, and if I was to get rid of any of these palettes, it would be this palette, just because these shades I feel like don't show up on me that well. I still would be keeping this, okay y'all? I still would be keeping it because I have a problem, okay? Now this is my first Natasha Nona palette, and it's the pastel palette. Mine's look like this. I hit pan on Airy, and I just love this palette because I love pastels. Now we have the Yucca palette, and this is very beautiful, like Plantasia. and Crombie. Like these shades up here, all the like shimmer shades are so beautiful. I haven't touched the matte shades, honestly. I do want to, so I'm keeping this obviously. Next up we have the Glam Face palette. This is a light version and I have actually used this, but my ex broke my other one, so I rebought it and I love the little shimmers. Even this matte is really beautiful. But yeah, I'll be keeping this for sure because I rebought it, so obviously I'm gonna keep it. Now I have the Hyper Natural Face palette, which this one I haven't even used except for Dreamy. I don't even understand what type of shades these are. Like, I don't know if this is her cream to matte formula. I honestly cannot tell you. It looks like it, but the shades are kind of odd for me. But I'm still keeping it. I low-key want to try out this bronzer and contour shade. Next up we have the Zendo palette, and this looks like this. Like I told you, this is Mindfold up here. So I will be keeping this just because I love the color scheme. The quality is not the best, but I love the color scheme. Then I have the Trio Chrome palette. I have not even used at all, and I've had this probably I remember I did a TikTok video and it was my freshman year of college. I'm a junior now and I still haven't touched it, but I'm keeping it because something about these shades, I love it, but I just don't know what look to do with them. Then I have the Retro Glam palette, which is probably one of my favorite. Flutter used to be my everyday inner corner highlight. Hit pan on it, still love it actually. I really love this evergreen shade. I actually really do like her cream nut powder formula. Like, I actually really like it. I don't know, something about the green and pinks. I love this palette. Now my last palette is the Circo Loco palette. This is the Acrobat shade right there. I do have looks on TikTok with some of these palettes. This is one of them. These over here are very light, so I can't use those too much, but I haven't touched anywhere else, so yeah, I'm keeping it. So from here I'm keeping 23 palettes and I'm getting rid of 2, which is actually a lot better than I would thought. So now we'll be going through this bag, which this bag was the bag I took to Texas back in April. So all these palettes I'm pretty sure I will be keeping, but I do need to organize them anyways. So we have the 35 eye palette from Morphe, and this palette I actually really love. Okay, I forgot that I even hit pan on them. So this one I'm definitely keeping. I'm keeping it just because I love the packaging. Y'all love it. Then we have the Lizzie McGuire What Dreams Are Made Of by ColourPop. I'm gonna keep it because I like these shades. Then we have the Glaminatrix Pretty in Pastel palette, and it looks like that. This is really pretty. Again, I haven't really touched the mattes, but I have used this shade and I have used that shade, and they're really pretty from what I can tell. So I'm gonna keep this again. Now we have the Lost in Love by ColourPop, which was their new release this year. I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it. I don't even know why I had to think about it. I'm keeping it. Then we have the Margarita by Glam Light, and I love the packaging that it came. Oh, I forgot that it was colorful. Okay, I haven't even used this palette yet, so we're gonna keep it. We're not doing a good job, but I told y'all we would not be getting rid of pretty much anything in here. We have the Nomad, I don't even know what this one's called. The Tokyo palette, I guess? I don't really know, but I bought it because I really like the packaging and I haven't even used it. I feel like all these palettes I've shown y'all are pastel palettes, which would work because I did go in April. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this too because I haven't used it and I want to. Next up we have the Sweet Peach palette by Too Faced, and this was one of the first 2 palettes I ever bought in my makeup journey in 2017. I haven't used it in a while, but there is one look that I love with it and I low-key want to keep it because of that. I have hit pan in 2 shades, y'all seen. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep it. If I use it and it doesn't like perform how it should, I will get rid of it, but for now, just looking off of it, I'm gonna keep it. Next up, my Lorac I Love Brunch palette. Again, I don't think I've actually used this, but it's a pastel palette and I love pastels. I don't even think this would show up on my skin tone, but I low-key want to try it, so I'm gonna keep it. And if it doesn't show up, then I'll get rid of it. Now we have the ColourPop Sailor Moon Pretty Guardian palette. And oh, I forgot, this was actually really pretty. This yellow shade's actually really pretty and I almost hit pan on it. I'm keeping this palette, okay? Just because I really like this yellow shade. Yeah, we're not doing great here. We have the ColourPop The Mandalorian, the Child palette. Didn't know the name for it. Love him. It looks barely used. It honestly looks barely used, but I've been getting into my green era, so I'm gonna keep it because I do want to pan this eventually. Next up we have Blend Bunny Sugar and Grunge, and this is fairly new also. I don't think I have used it. I've used Combat Boots, but I haven't touched any of the sparkly shades down here, but I'm keeping it. Okay, now ColourPop, You Had Me at Hello palette. I actually got this for Christmas from one of my cousins, but because of that, I'll be keeping it. I did hit pan on that shade. Next up, we have the Kylie palette. This one is, honestly, I cannot tell you which one this one is, but oh, This is the classic matte. I have a whole bunch of palettes that look like this that you would have seen throughout this video, but guess what? I'll be keeping this one too. Next up, we have my Glamlight Icy Cherry palette, and it looks like this. Really pretty actually, but I have not even touched anything else but white cherry. I haven't tried a red look on me actually. Kind of want to get rid of this, but low-key I kind of want it just because that shade's actually really pretty. You know what? We're gonna keep it, okay? If I'm not in the mood to get rid of it right now, we're gonna keep it, okay? And then when I do another declutter, we're gonna get rid of it then. Next up, we have the ColourPop Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon. This is the second edition, and it's called For Love and Justice. And this one is actually really beautiful. So I'm gonna be keeping this too. Yeah, I told you I'm keeping everything in this. Next up, we have this Makeup by Mario Master Metals palette, which obviously you guys can see I have not even used. I think I should just get rid of the box. Anyways, it looks like this. The only reason I haven't used this yet is because I want to buy the liquid, but I can't find the liquid. I'll be using this for like eyeliners and stuff like that, so I want to keep it, even though I haven't used it yet. Next up, we have the Profusion Mean Girls collab. And I got this from my ex, so part of me wants to get rid of it, but also I really love the shade called Lesbian Crush. I low-key don't want to get rid of it. Everything else is like, I would be fine with not having, but I love that shade. This is a hard decision. This is actually really hard because I low-key think I should get rid of this. It's just this one shade. Low-key, let me swatch it. I can't even, but look at it, it's so beautiful. I don't know what to do. Okay, I'm gonna put this in the maybe pile and we'll come back to it at the end of this video. Okay, next up we have this Morphe 35M palette. Pretty sure this is all greens and stuff. Yeah, this is all greens. I don't use this palette much, but when I do, I love it. So I'll be keeping this. Honestly, I really like Morphe palettes. Next up, we have Fade Into Hue by ColourPop. This palette has been through a lot. Did a couple of pans too. So obviously I'll be keeping it. And I believe this is like my favorite rainbow palette I have actually. Next up, we have the NYX Ultimate Utopia palette. And this has one of my favorite looks. So I'm gonna be keeping it, obviously, just because of that. Next up, we have the Pastel Roses by Huda Beauty. Wait a second, this yellow might, we're gonna compare the yellow. And my nail just ruined that one. Okay, yeah, I think they're the same thing. I'll be getting rid of Mean Girls. Bye bye. Next up, we have So Elemental by ColourPop, and this is also fairly new. I've not even touched this at all, but that Malibu Wave shade is so pretty. So I'll be keeping this. Now we have the Kylie Kendall collab palette, and I really like the packaging, honestly. And again, this is another all matte palette, and I will be keeping it. Yo, I have a problem. I literally have a problem with all matte palettes. Next up, we have Wild Greens by Urban Decay. I didn't even realize I hit pan in that. That's how long ago it's been. But I will be keeping this because I love the little shimmer shades. And the packaging's like really small. And then the last one in this is the Pat McGrath I Ecstasy in Subversive. And it looks like this. I haven't touched any other shade really except for this gold. Like I've swatched that shade and I swatched that shade, but I haven't actually used them. And I will be keeping it just because it's really small. So from here, I've kept 24 palettes and I've gotten rid of one, which honestly I'm surprised I even got rid of one. But we count that as a win.